Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to another amazing, fun filled, informational, educational, and slightly nutritious episode of the Zephyr Drone Simulator live stream. My name, as always, is Dustin Brewer, your brand manager and client success manager for Zephyr Drone Sim. With me, as always, is the beautiful and talented Bo Van Buren. Bo, how you doing, buddy?
I am freezing.
It's cold.
The high of the high of the week, I think, is a 28. Nice and balmy here in Appalachia. And you scurried off out west, apparently.
Yeah, I ran away. In beautiful sunny Boston, we got almost 2 foot of snow, and the lows have been in the negative numbers, which doesn't make sense. It's negative temperature, and the highs have been in the 20s. So my far better half and I took off to Waxahachie, Texas, just south of Dallas, to come visit my family and spend a little bit of quality time and hang out for a little bit. And it is 55 degrees and sunny, so I'm about to go lay on a rock and absorb sunlight like an old copperhead.
I was going to say Waxahachie. That's a mouthful.
It's actually, they've got an amazing band called Waxahachie. Great album. I highly recommend it. Oh, yeah, Stu. Thanks. I did. I cleaned myself up before taking some travel, and thank you very much for the birthday wish.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say we have a top of the order, a peak order of things. It's a Brudozer birthday.
It is a Brudozer birthday. Yes, I am officially the answer to life, the universe, and everything. Turned a very young and virile 42. And if you were my lower back, you'd say, well, that's BS because he's broken. But no, yeah, 42 years old. Happy to be here. Exceedingly blessed, dressed, and ready to rock and roll. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Fair enough. And speaking of lower back issues, shoveling snow. Ugh.
Yeah, no, that's I didn't realize how much of a hot topic this really is. Apparently in the Northeast, if you dig yourself out of your parking spot, you are entitled to recapture your parking spot. And if you don't have a cone to mark your parking spot, you are to take a dining room chair and put it in its place, up the place of your car, to hold your spot because you worked so hard for it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
If you take that spot, like, it's punishable by quite an admonishment. Like you're gonna get a talking to. As they say where I come from.
Only real scuzzbags steal your parking spaces in New England, apparently.
Dude, it's a whole. I did not realize how spoiled, because we have an underground parking garage underneath our apartment, and like it's even a little warm down there, and not realizing like it's Mad Max Fury Road, Flurry Road, I guess, because of the snow. But yeah, it's serious business. I did not know. I'm glad I know now. Before I went and parked at like my friend's neighborhood in Somerville, like I probably would have gotten in trouble.
Your car wouldn't be there anymore.
No, just be up on cinder blocks. Stu said 3 years ahead of me. How is it? I'm here. You'll know soon enough. I gotta tell you, it's weird. 40 hit weird, but it's a big number. I believe in the Patton Oswalt theory of birthdays, that after you turn 25, birthdays really only matter on the tens. But 42 feels weird. I feel, I guess, more grown up. I don't know.
Gross.
Letting it sink in a little. Yeah, a little. Yeah. I don't know how I like it. I think I'm supposed to start drinking like Senka prune juice.
Nah, you gotta get an unhealthy obsession with scotch now.
Look, I try every year. I try. I'm a big bourbon fan. Obviously a beer snob.
You got to choose one or the other. It's Scotch or gin.
Ugh, no, gin is nasty. That is
Guess
not for me.
Guess you're a Scotch guy then.
I guess so. It's close enough. Man, that's another one too. Like, I don't get gin. I don't get it at all. But you know what I do get?
Drone news.
I get quality. I like it. I like the process. As a former brewer, not by name but by trade, I understand what it takes to make a quality product. The time, the effort, the care, the craft of it all. And the closest thing that I can equate that to is Zephyr Drone Simulator. When you look at the product that's put out and the time and effort and quality that people get to experience and you get to share that, I think it's a one-to-one. You wouldn't necessarily think apples to apples, but it really is because of a tight-knit group that puts out an amazing product at a really good value and get to experience that. I think that is probably as far as anything drones go, that's the closest that you're going to get to a craft experience. And honestly, gold star for me for that segue. I'm very proud of myself for that one.
I was going to say, are we pivoting?
Yeah, I think it's time to pivot just a little bit. But no, it's been an exciting week at Zephyr since last we spoke. We've had a bunch of really cool internal meetings. We've kicked off this really interesting lead generation program where we're looking at other industries and sectors where we can be an active participant in that. And I'm excited to see, what develops in these next couple months as we start exploring outside of the realm of some of these municipality ventures and just training or even search and rescue, but looking at things like the energy sector and agriculture. We're learning more and more every day just how many applications we fit into in the real world. I think that's really exciting.
For sure. We've got all kinds of new initiatives going. Also, trade show season does generally ramp up in the spring. So, and we've started seeing our densest month so far, which is February, on the horizon. Literally, I think 2 days away, 3 days away, technically. But
finally. That's a good and bad.
Finally out of January, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Having a January birthday kind of sucks, to be perfectly honest with you.
I remember telling you on Monday, I was just like, at the end of the day, I was just like, how is it just Monday? It's not even Tuesday yet. I was like, this is the most Thursday Monday I've ever experienced.
Man, that's the absolute truth.
But not to say, Thursdays are bad or whatever, but it's one of those things. Yeah. But we have a LEDA show coming up, I think, next week.
It's in Phoenix.
For the uninitiated, that is the Law Enforcement Drone Association. They do a lot of first responder stuff with the drones, so we're proud to be working alongside them. As far as
great friend to us as well. Like they always give us an amazing platform, especially at these conferences where they put the spotlight on us and let us shine, and it's pretty nice of them. They're a great group to work with.
Yep. We got conversations going more with vets to drones. We've got I'm hoping that we get a chance to, like, at least one of us gets to go down for Dr. Drone, Dr. Joe Burgett's SciDuck initiative. I call it SciDuck. It's SCIDUC, which is a South Carolina initiative for it's like a symposium that gathers a whole lot of people from different fields. It usually takes place in June.
I would bet that if they tried to brand the SciDuck, isn't there? That's a property for something else, right? Isn't it Nintendo?
It's a Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, probably don't want to try and co-opt that one.
No, I think that the people in the know call it SkyDuck. because, you know, drones.
Psyduck.
But I call it Psyduck because, you know, Pokemon.
It's adorable.
So that's real cool. You'll catch us at the Energy Drone and Robotics show this year in Houston. Should be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some of the other smaller shows that we're doing, because I mean everybody knows that we're going to be at Exponential and CUAV, but
right,
you know. Anywho,
and then you and I will be in Virginia at the end of next month, correct?
Well, I'm always in Virginia, you know.
Well, yeah,
but
yes, yes, you were there, but I will be there.
Yeah, we'll be at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, technically, but it's all around the DC metro area. So,
got it.
Should be a really interesting thing. That's going to be a job fair / expo thing. Be interesting to see how that plays out. With another one of our with Zephyr's good friends, George Hinckley at the Smart Community STEM group, which is like a initiative that he spearheads, and we help with like the summer camp and stuff during July usually.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to meeting George in person and being a part of that. And honestly, just kind of being around Andrews Air Force Base. Like, you hear that name so much in like film and TV that actually go into some of these places. Like, ooh, that's
that one.
What a neat little privilege that is.
That one gets me, and the other one is Quantico.
Oh yeah. I actually got a friend
Quantico
that works tangentially to Quantico. She's a technical writer, and when you hear Quantico, you think like, wow, there's like all kinds of crazy training and stuff going on, and it's a lot of paperwork. I think essentially it's like just an office building.
I passed it on the train.
Nice.
So we always like to cover some news. This is probably the worst segue that we've done on this show so far, but Dustin, what kind of news do we got going on?
Cue the music. This week in the news. Actually, some pretty neat stuff. I did a little bit of research, and there's been some relatively new regulatory stuff about whether or not you can fly a drone over your own private property, or how flying a drone over private property works in tandem with the FAA. And I know, right? So there's a certain limit, and you'll want to check, because even some states have their, I guess more than anything, a lot of what today is PSAs.
Mm-hmm.
And as your buddy in the drone world, it is Zephyr's stance on everything to please look up your local laws, look up your state laws, and then look up federal laws on what you're doing. Because we're going to cover general drone flight. We will also cover, oh, where'd my screen go? Sorry, I'm not used to having one screen. A lot of this is covered in Part 107 within those guidelines. Even stuff like hunting and fishing when it comes to drones and the ag sector. Like, there's a lot to be aware of, and there's a responsibility. It's no different to me than operating in like shooting sports. You want to be as safe, as mindful, and as aware as possible. Not with just what you're doing, but what's going on around you. There's a gray zone as far as the FAA is considered with flying on private property. And typically that's the first 100 to 200 feet above ground level. So you just have to be careful, but they must stay at least 500 feet. If it's a manned aircraft, there's a certain level that they can't go under, like that hard deck is what they call it. So, look at state laws and local ordinances and make yourself aware. And something that I think would be kind of cool for us to do is starting to try and compile some of these and make it accessible. And that's something else that we'll get to today, is like how we handle our information that we give to you as far as Zephyr goes. So we'll get to that. But there have been some new ones that came out as far as rules and regulations from the FAA that landed in January. So please, If you want to find these, FAA has a pretty decent website, and then you can look at your state. Most states have their own .gov, so go to those, search drones in the search bar, do your due diligence the best that you can. If anything, just to CYA.
That's interesting. Like, I wonder, like, is it kind of like if you have like a river running through your property, you don't own the water, obviously, but like, that's so strange to hear it, because of the air stuff. Because like the normal FAA ceiling is 400 feet, like above ground. So they have them cap it at 2. You said 200.
Some say it's 2. There's a gray zone of 2, depending on your state. There's that area between 2 and 5 that get a little tricky. Essentially, like if you're flying in an ultralight or one of those parachute copter type things, that area below 5 feet, there's regulations there, and there's some talk about lumping a lot of these things together, whether it's manned or unmanned, and doing a bulk legislation on it. So again, it's a lot of gray area because this is all so new. Like, who would have ever thought?
Do yourself a favor and do your due diligence for sure.
Right, which leads me to my next piece, which is pretty awesome. But there are several communities that are bringing in drone informational presentations at local libraries. Found this one out of Cape Canaveral Public Library, where these two folks, one of them being Marissa Maloney, out of Cocoa Beach Public Library, that held an event for free for members of the library to come in and learn about local ordinances on drones, how to set up your drone, where drones can be flown and not be flown in the general area. So, there are other resources out there locally, like your public, and I can't stress this enough. Your public library is the most underused free resource in your neighborhood. Go to it, utilize it, check it out. You get all kinds of neat stuff, like in Watertown in Massachusetts. The Minuteman Library Project is what it's called. And like, you get free subscriptions to newspapers, periodicals, magazines, access to different websites for managing money or stuff like drones. Just make yourself aware. There's a lot to be said for being A, involved in your community, B, participating in a really neat thing in your community, and being informed. Make yourself informed. These resources are out there, and honestly, I'd like to see us participate in something like this with some local libraries where we have our guys. Like, we've got guys in Tennessee, Massachusetts, Virginia, Nicaragua. So why not?
That's a good question. Eric, if you're listening, do they have a public library in where you are in Nicaragua?
Surely.
You never know.
I would surely think so.
You never know, man. That's you don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right. So. I like it. So next on the docket, because I'm here in Texas, not necessarily where I'm from, but where my family all lives now, I wanted to do some Texas-centric news, and I thought this was pretty cool. This is out of Texas A&M. They are utilizing drones and camera technology to measure ocean currents and how things like oil spills, chemical spills, or even just tracking water movement affects the environment and the repercussions thereof, whether it's weather or environmental. So Texas A&M engaged in this study over a couple years, and they recently did a paper essentially butting up 3 different methods of measuring ocean currents and using things like floats or other things of that nature, and seeing the problems therein. When they utilized drones, they didn't have those other factors like waves or things being tossed or pushed under or stuff hitting them. They were able to accurately measure the movement of water and how it would carry animals, substances, whatever, and track how quickly those ocean currents are moving, if there's any change year over year. It's really fascinating. And
Yeah.
this is because of drones. Again, another facet that we never would have thought would be applicable, but
Yeah.
it's really cool to have that kind of access.
So they're talking about like they're measuring like erosion and stuff like that as well.
Erosion, current speed, direction, changes in currents,
Huh.
how that can affect wildlife, and if there is a spill, you know, what does that look like? Where does it carry these foreign substances that wouldn't necessarily be in the water, and how quickly will it get to these other spots where it could damage coral or wildlife? Really fascinating stuff. Um, you can find that on the Texas A&M in their stories section if you want to explore more of that. And I got a feeling there's going to be more studies like this. We have a really strong relationship within higher education because of the different drone training programs. But seeing it go into other areas like environmental science is, I think, just incredible.
It is really cool. I did get to attend a I guess it was technically a summit, but like
Mhm.
it was people using how people are using drones in wildlife conservation efforts, like tracking elephant migratory like herds and like rare birds, and like there was one guy talking about how flying at a certain height will essentially antagonize giraffes. So you have to
Incredible.
so you have to fly at a very specific kind of clip in order to not agitate the giraffes. It's really cool stuff.
You don't want to agitate the giraffes. They've got enough going on with
Well,
those ridiculous bodies.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my younger brother once sent me a video of two giraffes fighting, and like they like whip their necks at each other. It was very crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Seems like a really inefficient way of like asserting dominance, but
Hey,
I guess it's better than yelling at each other, I guess.
Yeah, but very cool stuff. Like it just goes
really
to
cool.
show that like I'm not gonna make the normal pun that I would for this, but literally you can do anything with drones. I was gonna say sky's the limit.
Yeah, no, I knew you were going to. And you did it anyway.
Awful.
You did it anyway.
It was awful. I recognize its awfulness, but
how do you feel about yourself now?
I feel disgusting and I need a shower. But no, generally speaking, you can do like your imagination is, what ultimately limits you with this tool. Like,
Sure.
there are people using it for power washing. I'm wondering how long it's going to be until we have drones that can help clean up oil spills. So like, it's they just do, like, the tool platform is robust.
It is, and it's just going it's taking off like I would have thought possible.
Josh,
Case in point. Oh,
I've seen what makes you laugh. You have no hold over me.
I've seen what you people cheer for. That's not fair because Josh is a great audience and he laughs at a lot of my jokes. So I don't want to admonish him too much.
Josh is a very funny kid.
Absolutely. But no, as speaking of Josh, actually, I had a conversation with somebody at CUAV about how they were using drones to track whitetail deer migration and seasonality of their movements, and that fascinated me. So I was looking around here again in Texas as with their Wildlife and Game and Fish Commission, and they have actually started the process of figuring out how to deal with drones and Texas fishermen. Apparently, fishing with drones is on the rise here in Texas.
That's crazy.
As the old saying goes, big fish are in big water, and we need to get to the big water. And one of the easiest ways they're finding is by attaching essentially a yo-yo reel, which, if you're not aware, there's a lot of people use them in catfishing, where once it feels tension, it'll spring and start reeling itself back up. They're attaching these to some actually just commercial grade drones.
It's hilarious to me that you're bringing this up, because we talked with a group in Australia about designing a drone fishing simulation. as part of our situations. But I don't know where the conversation went with that. But very, very cool way to use a drone.
Well, here's probably why that never came to fruition, because here in the States, we have a law that dates back to 1956, and it's a federal law called the Airborne Hunting Act, which prohibits the harvesting of
Oh man.
creatures essentially from the air. That's why there's the special permit to take out hogs from like helicopters, because hogs are considered a pest
Mhm.
or a varmint license. So
Yeah.
you get a special eradication, I guess, excuse to engage in that. But as far as
Excuse.
fishing goes, I don't know what you want to call it. Like it's an exception, if you
Yeah.
will. It's a special exception. It's fun. Like I'll be the first to tell you, hog hunting in and of itself is a blast. Pun intended. See, that's how you pun.
That's awful.
And that I'm proud of that one.
We're both awful.
But I digress. This kind of goes back to what originally we talked about before, about knowing some of these laws and how they apply. It's almost impossible sometimes, because the way these were written,
Yeah.
75 years ago,
Yeah.
they may have application to modern technology. But as this fellow that they're interviewing, Mr. Robinson, says, that we don't see any difference between using a drone or being in a kayak or using a kite or a remote controlled boat, which doesn't necessarily fit the Airborne Hunting Act of 56. So technically, unless the actual item itself, like a yo-yo reel, is prohibited in that area, then they could make an argument for it. So they're trying to set a precedent now to see, like, what qualifies as harvesting from the air, what modifications are okay and not okay, and then setting limits and restrictions on how that can be applied to hunting, fishing, and then how that's going to be checked.
That's crazy.
So good on Texas for doing the due diligence and starting to figure out a path forward.
Yeah, we're gonna start. What are we gonna do? Start finding eagles for swooping into water?
Airborne hunting. But when they hit the water, they're no longer airborne. So are they actually just fishing? Ah,
Loopholes.
Loopholes. So that's all the news that's fit to print. Honestly, I think that's pretty fascinating stuff. We at Zephyr are constantly looking for new areas to explore and that input. So if you have a request of something you'd like to see, we're all ears. We check every nook and cranny of the internet and our comment sections on all of our platforms. Aside from YouTube, LinkedIn, you can follow us on the legacy socials. We don't check them as much, but especially YouTube and LinkedIn. Which, Bo, you've been working really hard this week on adding some new stuff to our YouTube.
Yep. I've been working on our short form content. It's not currently ready to go. I am having to essentially teach myself some really sketchy editing. And it's not the programs that I'm using that are sketchy. It's that I am sketchy at doing it at best. But yeah, we're hoping to have a lot of more digestible small content on the page.
Right on. I think it's going to be fun. We'll be able to add in some fun stuff. Yeah, we've got some new interviews coming up that we'll be participating in and having people on our show soon. That's going to be pretty awesome. But getting back to the information finding, I think that's probably as good a transition as we're going to get there.
Yep.
A segue into, like, if you want to know what's been updated with us, aside from just coming here each week and listening to myself or Bo prattle on, the best way you're going to be able to do that is by actually visiting our website. That's really how to kick off the whole party with your crew, be it your police department, be it your survey company, whatever it may be. The first step to engage with us typically is by visiting our website. Bo is going to take us through some of those best practices on how to reach out to us, and then where you can find a place where we put our updates and how to access those. So whenever you're ready
to go through best practices for reaching out.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, we do have a contact form on our website, I believe, that has gone live. So reaching out via that, if you have specific interests or inquiries into that, you can do that there. You can reach out to us via, if you're interested in purchasing, you can come to us through the sales@littlearms.com email address. And, you know, poking us on socials is generally, you're probably going to get me. But generally speaking, those are the easiest ways to get in touch with us. As far as finding out news and stuff like that, we put all of our patch notes and stuff like that into our wiki page, which is, you know, relatively easy to navigate to through the Zephyr website. So just go to FAQs and then, you know, scroll through all that data.
Right. Yeah, the wiki page is pretty great, and talking with, you know, Alex, our VP of production, that's one of his main things that he tries to hit. As soon as an update goes live, if there's any hot fixes, things of that nature, that's where it's going in those patch notes.
Well, with all the news concluded, I don't really have anything else aside from we got our new version 2. This is the debut of our coins that are how they were originally designed to be, with the bare metal back. You can see Toothy there on that. And then if you flip around to the back, boom, there is nice and shiny for all of my, I guess, loot goblins out there.
Dude, that's slick. I like that a lot.
But that is going to be hitting our booths for this upcoming year. If you have one of the original ones that we printed with the black backgrounds on them, those are technically misprints. So hang on to those. They might be worth something someday.
Well, hopefully, as we continue to grow and scale this up, you know, the black background will be year 1, metal background year 2. We'll just keep updating them, so you'll know if you come and see us at each year at a show, you'll have every version available. You can find those at our booth at Exponential, CUAV, any of the LEDA shows that we go to, drone responder, stuff like that, Texas DPS. So yeah, come find us. And honestly, you mentioned the YouTube stream. You might walk away with more than just a coin. You could find we've got Toothy plushies or hats, or all kinds of cool swag.
A knuckle sandwich.
A knuckle sandwich. But that's only if you you know, comment on how bald I'm going. So hat fishing out here.
Fair enough. But no, that's pretty much all I've got.
Excellent. Same. I'm going to get back to some of my birthday stuff, finish up some emails, and then, like I said, I'm going to go find me a piece of rock to lay on and soak up some sun and some warmth while I can before I head back to the north.
I am so very jealous. I will be continuing to freeze as my dog tries to find a place to pee. It's crazy to me that he has the entire earth as a restroom, and he is the pickiest peer that I've ever met.
You know what, though? I understand. I get it. You want it to be special.
I guess.
Well, on that note, thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week with more news, more updates. We'll take you through a couple parts of the scenario, not necessarily new, but in the simulator. Take you through some stuff. But yeah, just continue to be cool to each other, protect your friends, your neighbors, and, you know, everybody stay warm.
Yeah, for sure. Hope it's not in the negative temps where you are.
Right.
But Be good to each other. We are out of here.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, I'm muted, you're muted, and I just clicked on to the ending soon. Time to bring the music back up. I'm gonna let it run for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna cut it.